Listen to this story. A Kentucky mother is rushed to the hospital while traveling in Tennessee after picking up a dollar bill that she now suspects was laced with fentanyl. This comes just weeks after police in a nearby Tennessee county warned against picking up bills over that very same concern. That mother, Renee Parsons, and her husband, Justin Parsons, both join me now. Good morning to you. I'm so glad to see you both safe. Renee, what happened?
Good morning. Thank you. As you mentioned, we were traveling and we made a stop at the McDonald's. We went into the McDonald's as I was waiting for my husband to use the bathroom so he could hold our 3-month-old. I found a dollar. I picked the dollar up and I held on to the dollar. In fact, I contemplated giving the dollar to a little girl in the store. And as I was contemplating that, my husband came out of the bathroom and I handed him the baby, and then I put the dollar into my short pockets, and then I went into the bathroom, used the bathroom, washed my hands. I grabbed the dollar back out of my pocket, held on to it, went out to where my husband was with the baby and our oldest son. And, we were just talking, waiting for their food. And then we went outside to the car. Upon entering the vehicle, I placed the dollar in the door and we got into the car. We were sitting there for a minute. I started wiping my hands off with a baby wipe, just thinking about what my husband had told me in the past and just to be careful picking up things. And as he started to mention, and I said to him, hey, look, it's my lucky day. I found another dollar. And he, honey, why would you do that? Don't pick anything up. And I was like, oh, it's fine. No big deal. And then we started pulling out of the parking lot, got onto the street. And right as we did that, I felt this feeling overcome my body that it really started at my shoulders and started going down. And it really became not necessarily hard to breathe because I was gasping for air, but hard to breathe because it was almost taking over my body, as in relaxing me so much I didn't necessarily care to breathe.
Wow. And Justin, so your wife is fine 1 minute, then she's incapacitated the next. What are you experiencing and seeing, and how are you feeling at this time?
Well, it started out as I told our oldest son to dial 911, which he did, and they're asking for the address, which we didn't know. And at the same time, I'm looking up and just put hospital in my iPhone and started driving towards the nearest hospital. She is slurred speech, and she just kind of laid back on the seat. And her head was kind of going back and forth with the turns of the vehicle, and it was very scary, to say the least, especially with the
to say the least. And I understand that, Renee, you touched Justin, and your lips also went numb, Justin, and you got a rash on your arm as well. But Renee, one thing I did want to ask you about is that Nashville police responded to this, and they said that they don't think that you were poisoned with fentanyl because they tested the bill, they tested if there was any fentanyl in your system, and they said they didn't find anything. What's your response to that?
If that's the case, because the last that we heard, the dollar bill was never tested, and that came straight from the police officer himself. But also, my hospital records also show that I was not tested for fentanyl. They did a 6 or 10 panel drug screen, which came back negative. As the doctor came into the hospital room, he said, I'm sorry, we can't test for synthetic opioids, which is what fentanyl and carfentanil are.
Wow, that's very interesting. Like I said, we're so glad that you're okay. It sounds like this could have ended in a much different way. And this is definitely a cautionary tale considering how much of this drug is out there right now. Renee and Justin Parsons, be safe. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.